Hey, this is Cameron here, an invasive species technician with Severn Sound Environmental Association, and I'm here today to show you how to use the aquatic weed rake to detect for invasive species. Today we'll be taking samples on Little Lake in Midland, and we're going to be using this aquatic weed rake, which you'll get in your invasive species citizen science kit. And I'm going to show you and demonstrate how to use this rake properly and sample for aquatic plants. So to use the aquatic weed rake, I've got my gloves on for safety, just in case there's any zebra mussels on the samples or I nick myself on anything. And I'm going to hold it by the end of the rope close to, right tight with the rake. I'm going to let out a lot of slack, about as much as I think I need to reach the bottom, so it's not all going to coil up and get snagged on something in my boat. And I'm just going to gently toss my rake and then feed out my rope. And then once it hits the bottom, I should see the rope stop falling, give it a little bit of a tug, and once I make the line nice and tight, I'll pull in the slack, and now we're over the spot where the rake landed, and I'm going to give it a good pull, and then bring it up and into the boat, just like that. After getting our first sample, we've moved over to a new location. While you're taking your 3 samples, you're going to want to continue to move to new spots on the lake or the shore if you're going to be doing it from land, and then taking 3 different samples from 3 different locations throughout your monitoring day. So now we're going to see what we can get. We're going to sort our plants by leaf type to try and make it easier to identify. So we're going to try and keep everything that's got more of the broad, bigger leaves there on one side, and try and keep all of our smaller, narrow-leaved plants on the other side here. And then once we get them sorted into groups, we can start identifying or photographing our sample. Today, what we've collected is a couple of pondweeds here. We've got the Robin's pondweed with its smaller, narrow leaves compared to our large leaf pondweed here on this side, which is true to its name, does have pretty large leaves compared to most other pondweed species. And so when you are collecting your samples, we won't expect you to be able to identify every plant that you pull up, but if you do find a large number of plants, or ones that you think are invasive or can't identify, please take pictures of your sample and send it to the invasive species coordinator at Severn Sound for further identification and reporting. Here I've got a sample that I've collected. If you are going to be collecting some plant samples for identification, you can take a large freezer bag, fill it up with enough water to submerge your sample, and then take it home and refrigerate it until we can arrange pickup. You can contact the invasive species coordinator at the SSCA and arrange a time to drop off or pick up your samples. Once you've collected your sample and you're done taking photos and identifying it, you can take it and just put it right back in the lake where you got it from. Just like that. And then what we do want to emphasize is that every piece of equipment that you've used, you're going to want to clean off really thoroughly with soap and water and dry it out before taking it to another water body or bringing it back, because you don't want to be accidentally spreading more invasive species around while monitoring for invasive species.